Well, hello, everybody. It is Friday, April 19th, a very important date in NASA history. I don't know
Yes.
about anything. And the 20th, because this is the day late today into tomorrow, UTC, is when NASA landed the lunar module Orion on the moon, Apollo
Okay.
17,
Yeah.
Apollo 16, with the belt stars of Orion exactly 33 degrees above the landing site, and honored their Nazi past, honored their Egyptian past, all kinds of cool stuff. Anyway, we're here on a Friday night. We're getting ready to go out. We thought we'd sit down before. We did. It's about 7 o'clock here in Las Vegas. And before we go out and grab dinner, we thought we'd come on in and do a special 7-round Seahawks oriented mock draft with trade. Thanks for being here. I'm Seahawk Boy Mike.
I'm Seahawk Boy Dave.
And we'll get started right after this. Okay, we're back. We're getting ready to go. We are going to use, the other day when I did my mock draft, I used the Pro Football Network draft simulator using their player rankings. Should I get in further? Yeah. I don't know. But we're going to use the Sportskeeda NFL mock draft simulator with trades tonight. So we're going to start that sucker up and shoot it. And what we're going to do this time around, we're going to change this. What we're going to do this time around is Dave's going to pick the first round pick, make any trades he wants to make. I'm going to pick the second round pick. Dave gets the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on and so forth. And we do, at the end of it, we have a Seahawks mock draft. We're going to pick the regular speed, the normal speed. It's going to be a full 7 rounds, and the Seahawks are going to be our team. So we are going to enter this draft and get started. Caleb Williams goes first. Drake May goes second. Jaden Daniels goes third. Marvin Harrison goes fourth. Roman Dunze, Joe Alt, Oli Fashanu, Dallas Turner, Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, Byron Murphy, Chop Robinson, Quinyon Mitchell, Talise Fuaga, and Brian Thomas. Okay, before we get started with the trades, let's talk about these first few picks the computer made. And we're going to do, I think, a full 2-round mock draft before next Thursday, where we go through and make all the picks for all the teams.
Yeah, we'll do that again.
Caleb Williams, number 1's probably set in stone. Drake May, number 2 from North Carolina to Washington.
No, I think that's going to be Jaden.
Jaden Daniels. There's all kinds of skullduggery going on and gamesmanship going on, and people are saying, the Patriots are trying to trick the Redskins into taking Jaden Daniels because they think he's going to be a bust. But actually, I think Drake May has a bigger bust possibility. Marvin Harrison Jr. 4th. Again, people think the Cardinals are going to trade, but if you look at the Cardinals, they have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks in the top 104, and the top 100
team,
and the top 100 is where all the meat is in this draft. And then they've got a bunch of other picks after that. They don't need any more picks. I think they're going to stick and pick and take the best player on the board that fits their most, biggest need, which is wide receiver. Roman Dunze to the Chargers makes a lot of sense. Joe Alt. A lot of people think the Giants are going quarterback, but we only got a few quarterbacks out of here. Even the Vikings passed on a quarterback. I don't think that's very likely. So what you got left here is you've got pretty much a whole bunch of quarterbacks available to you. I just wanted to let you know that. McCarthy, Penix, Nix, Rattler are still all available, but not to influence your pick. But you're up now with the Seahawks. There's also some talk, by the way, that the Colts are going to leapfrog up into the top 10 or 9, up to 9 maybe to get Brock Bowers. Okay. Why don't you tell me what you want to do, what your thinking is? You're sitting here at the Seahawks at 16. I don't think this is very realistic.
No,
but you can decide whether you want to go with what the computer generated or whether you want to go with what you think's really going to be available.
Well, I'm gonna base this on what I think is really going to happen. I think the Seahawks are definitely going to look to trade down and acquire some more ammunition in the first 2 to 3 rounds of this draft. So they're at 16, which is a pretty good place to be to start from.
Take a look at the trade offers. So San Francisco has offered 31 and 63. That's a late first and a late second and a 2025 San Francisco second. We don't care about that. We don't want that pick. But The Dolphins have offered a trade back from 16 to 21, and it's 21 and 55 for 16 and 118. Do you want to accept either one of these, or do you want to counter? I would think about.
I know
which one
I
do you
know
want?
what you would.
Which one do you want to do?
I would take the Dolphins offer.
Okay.
Now the 118 pick is probably a little more than I want to give up.
So let's counter it. I've had this work before. Let's counter it and take 118 off the board and say forget it. Let's give them back something like a 7th round in 2025, which we're not really going to give them. But let's pitch that back to them and see what they say. They rejected it. Okay, so we're back to the trade offer again.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, let's just try to counter. Let's keep countering until we get a good.
Let's go. Let's offer that. Look, at 179, 192. Those picks are interchangeable as far as I'm concerned. I would offer either one of them. If we had a 5th round pick, I would offer them a 5th round pick rather than 118, because I think you can still get a good player, possibly at 118. All right, so let's try 179 and see what they do.
They've accepted that. Kaboom. Okay, so the Dolphins took Tyler Guyton, Kool-Aid McKinstry, the quarterback. Kool-Aid McKinstry, the quarterback, goes. McKinstry goes to the Jags. That makes sense. J.C. Latham, the offensive tackle, to the Bengals. Byron Murphy went high. There's talk now that Murphy's going to go top 10, which, is theoretically plausible. I suppose. I can't see the Vikings not taking a quarterback. Why did they trade up to the 11th pick if they're not looking for a quarterback? Right, exactly. But anyway, J.C. Latham, Terrion Arnold, the cornerback, goes to the Rams. Thank you, Rams, for getting an edge guy. Kingsley Sumatria. Okay, Sumiatia, whatever the hell it is. So now you're sitting here. Now you're sitting here at 21. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of names on the board: Jared Verse, Marius Mims, Johnny Newton, Troy Fatanu, Donnie Mitchell, Liatu Latu, Jackson Powers, Johnson, JJ McCarthy. A lot of quarterbacks still left, and you got a couple trade offers.
Let's look at the trades. Let me be honest. The Rams are throwing a lot of stuff at me, but I don't want any of that. That's all junk. I don't want any of those picks. So let's see what else we got.
Dallas is offering
24 and a 2025 Dallas second. And we're giving them back a pick. I just don't see that. Let's counter that.
Do you want to counter that? Okay.
Let's counter that. And we're going to want, I think, at least their 3rd round pick. Number 87.
I think that's what we want.
Yeah. And propose that to them.
They took it.
There we go.
All right.
So
the Eagles are on the board. They take Jared Verse. JJ McCarthy. The Vikings get JJ McCarthy at 23.
With the second pick of the 1st round, which is kind of crazy.
I think that's unlikely. But that's what happened. Now we're on the board. You've made two trades, and you've picked up 55 and 87, which is that's good. That's good moves. And you're sitting there at 24. And you have yet more trade offers. New Orleans is offering you the 45th pick and a bunch of crap from next year.
Screw that.
Okay, why don't we just actively reject that?
No, okay, yeah.
Houston has got 42 and 59 on the board. Now, if you accepted that would leave you wouldn't be picking till 42. Mm-hmm. But you'd get 79.
Let's have a look at the board here and see who might be available.
All right. So as we look at the top
at 42.
At 42, if you look into it, you've got Ennis Rakestraw, Michael.
Yeah, he's available. Yeah. Here's what I want to do. I want to be not afraid to make a trade down. However, the trade has to work in my benefit, to my benefit.
Right.
So if you go back to that trade again, let's take a look at it again, the trade offer. And 42 and 59, 2 second-round picks and a future Houston second for the 102 pick. Let's see what Houston has when we counter. See what they have possibly in the 4th round later on. They've got 123, 127. I think
188, 189.
I think if we're going to give up the 102 pick, we need to get back the 123 or the 127 rather than a future 2nd round pick. So let's take a look at that. Again, we're getting picks to our benefit here. So let's take a look at that.
Wow.
102 is a lot to give up, but sorry.
Well, no, I'm not the GM here, nor am I the owner. You are. I know what I would do at 24, especially with Michael Penix Jr. on the board, which I don't think is really realistic. Yeah. But I know what I would do here, but it's up to you. So, and your trade has been accepted.
And so now we're out of the 1st round completely, but we packed in a bunch of more picks.
Right. So the picks go off the board. Kaboom, 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 kaboom.
Ennis Rakestraw. I don't know.
All right, now
42.
Thank
Suddenly
God.
we're here at 42.
Cooper
In the
DeJean came
second
up
round.
on the board.
Since day 2. We all had day 1 off. We were all out drinking last night late. We got up late this morning.
Wait a minute. We were at 24,
Mm-hmm.
and we traded with the Texans.
Oh, wow.
But it's the Giants who came up.
Well, maybe they did a deal with.
No. That's just. Oh, yeah. Wait, they did. Okay, so we got into the 24th pick,
right,
by trading 21, and we got 21 and 24 and 87 is what we traded. We got 21. Okay, so the Texans then traded us 42, 59, and 123.
That's right.
And in return for that, we gave them 24 and 102, and then they traded again. That
makes no sense.
This is retarded. Yeah, this is retarded.
Let's forget about it. It's the computer.
Okay. So Adonai Mitchell went to New York. So they ended up with in the first round, they had 2 picks. They got Joe Alton, Adonai, whatever. It's a good deal for them. Troy Fatanu, the guy a lot of people wanted for the Seahawks. Again,
he's not going to be on the board at 25.
And if you think drafting a guard is going to get this team 1 inch closer to the Super Bowl in the next 5 years, or win one more game next year, you're a fucking crackpot. And I include Brian Nemhout.
That's weird because I was going to go take a guard.
Hang on. Hawk Blogger was God, he is so boring.
Yeah,
It's boring. Like, dude, get bring the energy level up. Drink some Dr. Pepper, something. And look, unless this guy is the reincarnation of Steve Hutchinson, it's still going to take 2 or 3 years for him to make a difference in winning football games.
I agree.
Darius Robinson, the edge, goes to Tampa. Graham Barton, very talented offensive guard, goes to the Cardinals. Xavier Worthy.
I think Darius Robinson is the guy who's actually going to go here at 28. 29 to the Lions. I think they're going to go for an edge. I think they need an edge to offset the rush of
their top need is regarded as cornerback, but
Aiden Hutchinson or Asa?
It's Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah.
Asa
Hutchinson used to be a congressman from Arkansas. Liatu Latu falls all the way. Now, because of his injury history, it's possible he falls to late in the first round, but he's the best edge rusher in this draft, but he's got the injury history. So
again, and that's the other thing I question here. He's drafted here number 30. A lot of people are talking about him in the top 15 or 20, but his injury history is worse than Michael Penix's.
Worse than Penix's,
and Penix is really knocked down for his injury history. But that guy was out of football for 2 years.
They don't say much about Liatu Latu, and it's a neck injury on top of it. So it's
kind
of crazy.
Thing that can really come back.
So Jordan Morgan and Johnny Newton went. Is there a dog down there? There's a dog down there.
Johnny's jersey.
And they flipped positions for some reason. Okay, they could have got the same players right where they were. Johnny Wilson, wide receiver, goes to the Panthers. I think that makes sense. Troy Franklin makes sense for the Patriots. They took the quarterback. May as well take the receiver. Ennis Rakestraw goes to Cardinals. Cardinals start off with Marvin Harrison, Graham Barton, 2 good football players. Rakestraw, I don't know, corner. I don't like to take corners in the first 2 rounds at all. I think you can get just as good at ones in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. At least the Seahawks have proven that over the last 5 years.
Yes.
I think corners should be like running back. You don't even think about taking them maybe till the late 2nd or early 3rd. And I would not have picked that guy. You use your first few rounds, I think, for your base picks, your offensive and defensive linemen,
big bodies.
And skill
players.
Adisa Isaac goes to Washington, the Redskins, and I do call them the Redskins because that's their real name. Get Drake May, Isaac, and then they take a corner. Devontae Walker, wide receiver, goes to Tennessee. They get a tackle. Yeah, they get a tackle and a wide receiver. Jatavian Sanders, tight end from Texas, goes to the Carolina Panthers. They did pretty good.
They need pass catchers. They got a wide receiver and a tight end.
Yeah, the number one. They got the number 5 or 6 wide receiver, but they got the number 1 tight end, Kamari Lassiter. Cooper DeJean. Good luck with that, Green Bay. I don't think he's that good. He might have good ball instincts, but I would never take a safety, and he looks like a safety at the NFL level. All right. Now we're sitting at 42. You've made multiple picks. Trades. I'm not letting you make any more trades. You have to stick
No, I'm
and
done
pick here.
trading.
Next pick is 55. That's my pick. What are you going to do at 42? We've got guys on the board like Lad McConkey,
Wow.
Roger Rosengarten, an offensive tackle who could play guard if you need him to, and could
you've also got a great guard on the board in Christian Hayes, number 41
from UConn. You've got Braylon Trice. You got Chris Braswell. Cooper Beebe, who is a better guard than Christian Hayes, by the way. And you got some quarterbacks. What are you going to do?
Well, there's one guy here that you haven't talked about and you haven't mentioned that I think is a very special player, a very special presence, and a guy that could really change your football team distinctly with his presence.
Keep in mind what your needs
are. And the name of that player is Trevondre Sweat. Now, don't pick this guy. He's dropped. He has dropped because of his.
I can't believe
DUI
after his drunken judgment thing that he's even at 46. But okay,
he's at 46. He's a guy that could really change your football team.
Because
can I talk?
Yeah.
Given all the things that are going on with the Seahawks, could they use a guy, another guy like a Malik McDowell, who might be a risk, but could possibly really change the dynamics?
High risk, high reward pick. Yeah,
high risk, high reward. Love the guy. However, I do not love him with the 46.
You don't love him back.
Not with the 46.
All right. So what are you going to do?
I think this guy possibly will be there at 42. I know the computer says he'll be there, but I think he will be there in the second round. I think in the second round, he's a great value. So if you go to the position on offense of quarterback, you will find a guy down at number, can you believe this? 115.
Yeah,
on
Spencer
the board.
Rattler.
I think he's still going to be there. If we trade in that range of 42, I think he will still be there. I would pick Spencer Rattler, the quarterback.
And I'm not letting you go back on that.
No, and I wouldn't go back on that because honestly, I think he's value at that point in the draft. I think he's needed. We need to think about the future, not just beyond that. Trevondre Sweat already went. I was hoping you'd be there for the second pick, and I could convince you to take it.
I have massively influenced this pick, I think, in talking to you over the last few days and doing these streams on my own, as has Rob Staten.
Awesome.
I think this is right where Rattler will go. I don't think he gets past 40. If I was the Raiders, I would be talking overnight to the Panthers to go up to 33 and get him the same way Tennessee came up and got Will Levis last year, and now they have their exciting young quarterback prospect to build around.
Right.
If Spencer Rattler gets there, but if he lasted to 42, it's a big risk. See, I would not have taken the risks that you took
to get down
to Spencer Rattler. I might have done the second trade down to 24, but I would have stopped. I would have stuck and pick and taken Spencer Rattler there because I don't think just to make sure, I don't think Michael Penix is going to get out of the top 15.
Yeah,
I agree. And
Bo
Nix,
I agree with that.
Bo Nix is not as good a fit, although I would take Bo Nix if he was the only quarterback left.
Yeah,
at 24.
I just think I agree that probably reasonably I should have stopped at 24. If it wasn't this board that we were dealing with, I probably would have stopped at 24, and taken the quarterback.
Yeah. And again, if you have any doubts about Spencer Rattler, go check out RG3, Robert Griffin III, and let him, who was an NFL quarterback and the number 2 overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Let him tell you how good Spencer Rattler is, because he's good. He's got everything you could possibly want. And yes, Seahawks fans. Yes, Brian Numskuller. Yeah, sorry, Brian, I shouldn't be that mean to you. But well, no, I should. You voted for Biden, so I can be that mean to you. And Seahawks retard Nelson and these other guys. If you don't think this team needs a quarterback, you're out of your fucking
crazy.
mind.
You're crazy,
okay?
In my opinion.
Okay, and this after skipping over quarterback the last 2 off seasons, is the third straight one. They have to get one.
I agree.
I would take Rattler over Nix, and I'm happy he's there. And see the Raiders didn't take.
See, I might reverse that. If I had a choice between Nix and Rattler, I would probably take Nix.
I know you like Nix better.
Having seen him play, he seems to have the ability to run any kind of offense that you want.
Right.
Running
And Mix
more
plays
passing.
with his leg.
And
Mix
he
plays
makes
with his legs. Can
and
scramble. I mean, what was that one scramble? Like 49 yards?
Yeah, it was great.
And
He was a great player. We saw, we said this. I said this, and Rob Staten ended up blocking.
He went after you
because I said this.
Yeah.
Okay. We watched in Las Vegas. We watched the
Rob's a little
the
Pac-12.
Yeah, he's a prickly Englishman. Small.
Yeah.
That's why.
Little thin skin. Yeah.
But anyway, we watched Penix and Nick's play, and it was like a duel. It was like a gladiatorial duel.
It was a duel in the desert. It was a duel in the desert here in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
and it was clearly obvious from watching them that they both had everything you might want in a first round quarterback.
I agree.
And Penix just had the little bit better arm, a little bit better deep thrower,
right.
but I would say Nix was better at with his legs, and they both could innovate and make plays on the run, and that's really important. Okay, so right after the Seahawks pick, Jalen McMillan went to the Falcons. Bo Nix goes to the Raiders. Christian Haynes, offensive lineman, goes to the Saints. That makes sense because in the first round they went, offensive guard, offensive tackle, their two biggest needs. They filled them. Boom, boom.
They also don't have any picks beyond that worth anything. Go back to the Saints real quick. The Saints, if you look at them after 45, their next pick is at 150.
Yeah, they do have a whole bunch of third day type picks.
Those are all special
fifth.
Teams
These are both fifth,
practice
sixth,
squatters,
seventh, and eighth. Yeah, so they're going to get a lot of marginal guys because again, the meat in this draft is in the top 100.
And then my point is they had to get their business done with these two picks.
And they did a good job of it. Chris Braswell, the edge, goes to the Colts. They get a wide receiver. They get an edge. Not bad. The Texans, who did that weird thing, and the Junior Colson, linebacker from Michigan.
That's good.
Pick. But they really wouldn't have made that trade. They made Keon Coleman, wide receiver, goes to the Jags. Lad McConkey goes to the Bengals. I think they go offensive line or defensive line there, even though they want offensive line in the first round. I think they go one of those. I don't think they do that. Kyrie Jackson, the corner, goes to the Eagles. The Eagles managed.
They stole my guy.
Wait a minute? Didn't you?
We traded with the Eagles.
You trade with the Eagles?
Yeah, and they took Jared first.
But you went back to You went back to 21, right? You went back to 21.
Oh, it was with the Cowboys?
No, they had 24. We went something's this computer's messed up. Right. This computer is messed up. Anyway, they get a corner. They get Devondre Sweat, and they get Jared Verse.
That's a good draft.
I don't think they actually have Jared Verse. Who picked it? Yeah, they're
saying I traded with Dallas. Like, I guess we did trade.
We traded with you traded with Miami. That's right. You traded with Miami. Oh, mistake. Got me. Sorry. 21. Okay, that's fine. All right. And then Roger Rosengarten, who we both know is a really good football player, goes to 49ers.
Underrated.
Kalen Bullock, the safety, goes to LA. Devondre Sweat, again, to the Eagles. Michael Penix Jr., 54, goes to the Browns. Crazy. That's not going to happen. He's going to be top 15, but okay, he's off the board. That's the main thing. So now we're sitting there at 55. And we really have several different needs: offensive guard, offensive center, linebacker. I don't disagree with that. Safety is not even listed here. Defensive tackle. You got some good players. You got Braylon Trice. You got McKinley Jackson. But we also have
we have 59, 81, and 87.
Right.
On day 2.
So
in addition to having gotten
right now, who I want to fit my need is Cooper Beebe. I will settle for Zach Zinter. However, one of those two guys is going to probably be there at 59. I think it's very unlikely they both go between 56 and 58. So I'm going to take the risk here.
Can I wait before you make this? I need to make my input here as well.
Yes,
you've been doing all of that. I think that the need overall hasn't changed for the Seahawks. I think that they could still use a really strong defensive tackle interior player. McKinley Jackson is a defensive player you could pick in that spot. 6'2", 325 pounds, not small, but another effective Texas A&M player. And then beyond that, you also have the ability to pick Dwayne Carter, Ruka Rohiro, Chris Jenkins, who I love, but let's be honest, his sack numbers haven't been great.
Yeah.
Any of those guys would be good.
Yeah.
But do I think they need to go offensive guard, offensive tackle? No, I don't.
But they
But I
can.
think
They can.
they
and
can.
You know,
They
it,
could.
it would strengthen their offensive line. I mean, now that they've signed the veteran
Laken Tomlinson.
Laken Tomlinson. They don't desperately need to go with a guard, but they should.
Yeah.
To pair with Anthony Bradford, and you know, I believe John Schneider when he says, I don't want to take guards high, but if they're really good players, the best lineman on the board, you got to think about that. And this team needs some guys that can do it. However, what they don't need desperately is edge. However, the reality is, Dave, is that the draft, once you fill, the Seahawks actually played free agency right for the first time since I can remember.
Right.
They plugged NFL level players into every need spot they had.
Right.
So they come into this draft with no desperate need except quarterback.
Right.
And you know, we're the lone voice in the wilderness saying they got to go quarterback. And nobody else is really saying that except Rob Staten, who is brilliant, but a little thin-skinned. Rob, you're a little thin-skinned. You got to relax a little bit. The reality is that they don't need an edge. They've drafted 3 edges in the second round. Derek Hall, who has washed out so far. Boye Mafe, who's done pretty good. Daryl Taylor, and then Uchenna Nwosu, they invested a lot of
they invested capital in him as
second round capital in him in free agency.
10 million a year.
And they don't desperately need one because they got 4 guys, but I do think they'd like to replace Daryl Taylor because he's only had the 1 9-sack season, and all he really does is
Daryl Taylor pick was just horrible because they traded up to take a guy in the second round with a rod in his leg, was probably going to be there in the 4th round. They gave up a 3rd round pick or the 100 pick to move up and take him.
But the guy sitting here, 6'4", 270, bigger, different type than the other guys who are more like linebackers,
longer body.
This guy could also be a defensive end and a 43, a right end. Braylon Trice is too much of a bargain. I can't pass it up. I'm going to take him here, even though I don't have a desperate need. And hey, if all 5 guys make the team, I'm going to have a hell of a pass rush next year. I'm going to have a bunch of guys that have a lot of potential. I think Trice, you know, all of our guys are in that 9-10 sack range on a good season.
Right.
This guy, Trice, has a chance to be a 14, 16 sack guy. So go ahead and take him since the quarterback problem is solved. Kaboom. I thought for a while you were going to pass. Zach Zinner goes, Blake Corum. Okay, so Zach Zinner goes. You got trades up now.
We're going to reject all those trades.
Okay. So,
because there's a guy on the board that I think we want, and that's Cooper Beebe.
Yeah.
The offensive guard from Kansas State. I wanted Zach Zinner.
Yeah,
I was hoping Zach Zinner would fall because then he would fit perfectly behind Laken Tomlinson as a guy you could then bring along. He wouldn't play much probably at the beginning of the season, but maybe by the end of the season, he would be your left guard starter.
Right. But, you know, again, Jim Miller and Pat Kerwin today during the fan mock draft, in which the idiot Seahawks guy, who should have been me, by the way, you had some other retard on there from Pittsburgh. He picked Johnny Newton.
Yeah.
It was a stupid pick. They were raving about Cooper Beebe today, about his ability to annihilate guys in the run game. Very serviceable in the passing game. 6'4", 322.
Good body.
I hate it, but we agree with it. We agree with each other's picks to this point. All right, so we're going to do that. Our next pick is 81. And let's just, right now, I'm happy. I mean,
Marshawn Newland goes. Ruka Rowe, Jalen Polk.
Round 3,
Hicks from Washington State goes. Wilson, McKinley Jackson's gone.
Ben Sinnott, tight end. I love the tight ends. Chris Jenkins,
73.
Good pick.
Well, I'm not sure he's going to help as an inside guy. Trevor Wallace, I don't want to do it.
Cedric Gray, the linebacker from North Carolina, goes. All right, I'm sitting here at 81. I got my second pick.
I think, honestly, Mike, I know it's not my pick, it's your pick, but I think it's time we need to really seriously look at linebacker.
Fuck you.
You seriously need to.
Because I was thinking a linebacker, the top guy on there is Peyton Wilson. Does he have an injury history? Yes, he does. But he also has elite traits and elite talent And how are we agreeing on everything?
Well,
thought
I
we
would prefer,
fight
honestly,
constantly.
the guy I would prefer if you go up there just to 177 was Trevin Wallace. I think he's the guy
Okay.
who might be there at 81. And that's probably the guy I would have
But-
ended up taking. I also think that Peyton Wilson will be gone before
Probably,
Trevin Wallace.
but with
I
the
think Wallace will fall to us.
with the
or could fall
injury
to us.
history, sat on the sidelines as a freshman after suffering 2 knee injuries, including one that occurred in high school. Played in just 2 games during the 2021 season after suffering a shoulder injury. That's why he's going to slip here. This is a first-round talent on Rob Staten's first big board, his very first big board. Let's slide over here and show his big board. At linebacker, Peyton Wilson was up here in the blue chip category. Number 1 linebacker 1. He's still linebacker 1. I agree with that just based on what I've seen. And
here he is.
And yet here he is sitting at 81, which is a possibility. It's possible. And you know, you've got 2 starting linebackers right now, but this guy could work his way in. Here's the thing. You're taking the chance because you've already filled your 2 biggest needs, which are really interior offensive line and your interior offensive line and quarterback. And you're taking a guy who has a chance to be an elite Pro Bowl player,
I agree.
Bobby Wagner type if he stays healthy. And there's a lot of guys who've been injured in college and then never missed a game.
Yeah.
And Curtis Martin is an example.
The other thing is that even if you only get 4 or 5 years out of a guy, because of his injury history, because of his injury propensity, the fact is that those 4 or 5 years are going to be out. Remember, what was the guy back in the late 80s, early 90s? Fred something or other, the linebacker that was just so athletic. I can't remember his name now.
Seahawks player?
Seahawks player.
Fred Young.
Fred Young.
Yeah.
If you only get 4 or 5 top years out of a guy, that's
enough.
Good return on a draft pick,
especially a 3rd-round pick. So
I mean, any player that's playing for you 4 or 5 years down the line, is a successful draft.
Right now, this so far, we've gotten Spencer Rattler, the quarterback, Braylon Trice, the edge, Cooper Beebe, the guard. We're about ready to load up. We made some unlikely trades. That 3rd trade was very unlikely.
The 3rd trade was
but we're gonna take it. And the only other possibility here is Matt Gonzalez, who is a very versatile offensive lineman, can play multiple positions, would give us some insurance at right tackle, but we've already got George Fant.
And Mike has a Woody for the guy, I understand that.
So we're going to wait. Well, the Seahawks had him in for a visit, too. They apparently like him. So, but we're going to go with Peyton Wilson, who they have not had in for a visit. All right, Patrick Paul, the tackle goes.
Coleman.
Gonzalez just went.
Right before we were going to pick, because that's the guy I was never going to take.
Okay. All right. So Arizona, no
interest in trades.
Yeah, we're just gonna pretend like the rest of these trades, because we got super lucky with those trades. Pick again next at 118. A lot of running backs on the board. Have any running backs even gone in this draft yet? I don't think a running back has gone. Oh no, Trey Benson went to the Cardinals, and they do need a running back pretty desperately because who's that guy? That Jonathan Cooper? Yeah, or Cooper. He's just average. He's totally average. Blake Corum also went. So, yeah, a couple running backs have gone. But here we are, Seattle Seahawks, 87th pick. What are you doing?
Well, we have a lot of talent still left out there. Some players higher than others. I'm really kind of a little bit upset that Mike took Braylon Trice, because the guy I really wanted, if you go back up the board right down where you were, was Jonah Ellis, the edge out of Utah. I think he's been a really terrific guy, but he's not. We're not going to take two edges in the first.
No, because we don't really
rounds.
Even need one. But we had a guy that was like a 1st-round level talent that we got in the 2nd round, right?
Well, I don't know how Trice is going to work out in the pros. I'm higher on other guys, but those guys would cost a lot more draft capital. What I think we're going to do, however, is pivot to again. If you look at our needs. I'm sure we have guard, center, linebacker. Okay, we got linebacker covered. We got guard covered. Cornerback. Like we've got like 8 cornerbacks.
Yeah.
The guy I think we need to add to what is a very thin tight end room right now would be Theo Johnson.
And again, a guy they had in for a visit. Absolutely love this guy. I would rather have the 2nd tight end from
Jatavian, whatever.
No, not Jatavian. The other guy, Ben Sinnott. I'd rather have him, but he went to the and we bet he went to the Cardinals, and we better keep up with the Joneses here in our own division. This is the pick I would have had. I agree with you on everything.
Well,
what the hell? There's
you
no
know,
point in even doing this. But Theo
there
Johnson,
is.
big guy, athletic tight end prospect with great computer numbers, fires off the snap into blocks, bends his knees and blocks, terrific at the pad level, explosive, strong explosive at the point, shows ability blocking in motion, and knocks linebackers and defensive backs.
He's a physical athletic guy.
Yeah.
And that's what you want at tight end.
Yeah. And he's the he's the number 3 tight end prospect. And yeah, people don't realize you have one of the worst tight end rooms in the league right now.
Yeah.
You have Noah Fant, and that's it. Pharaoh Brown can't even fucking play. He had 15 catches last year.
I think Noah Fant will probably be better under this coach.
Oh, I agree.
Mike McDonald,
and
than he ever was under Pete Carroll.
And if we get a new quarterback too.
Yeah. But I think the pick there is Theo Johnson to fill that out.
I consider tight end to be a much bigger need.
Yeah, they don't even have listed as a need on
than
it's
safety.
A much bigger need than say cornerback
or even defensive tackle,
or
which I think we're pretty well stacked at. So we're going to take Theo Johnson, the tight end from Penn State, and we agree on everything. I wanted to have more disagreements here. Malik Mustafa, safety that Iowa State likes. A lot of guys like Jeff Simmons.
Xavier Legette was the guy I would have thought about that pick as well if Theo Johnson.
Our next pick is
wide receiver for the Cardinals. They're loading up. Jonah Ellis goes to the Titans.
Ricky Pearsall.
Mike Sainstrill. He's a good football player.
Okay. I know who I want here. And again,
show us who we've taken so far.
Well, okay, so who we've taken so far, we've got Spencer Rattler, the quarterback, solves our number 1 need. That's been a festering sore on this football team since March 8th, 2022, when we traded away our Hall of Fame franchise quarterback in Russell Wilson. Braylon Trice, which was a luxury pick. Cooper Beebe fills a need. Peyton Wilson.
Yeah, it was a luxury pick. That's good description.
Peyton Wilson, he's like the best.
Again, I think more like that's going to be Trevin Wallace,
but he could be the best linebacker in the draft. Theo Johnson from Penn State. So we filled need, want.
Well, we're going to have to do this too, maybe a little differently. Is do a 7-round mock, but we'll do it with no trades.
Or you could just do it with trades that actually make sense. So we're sitting at 118. We got 118 and 123. Now, who am I looking at here at 118 and 123? I do think a defensive tackle would be a good pick for us here. It is an area that I'd like to add to. I love Tommy Eichenberg, and if I couldn't have gotten Peyton Wilson, I would have gone with Tommy Eichenberg. I like Braden Fisk. He's 118. I know Hawk Blogger is big on Michael Hall Jr. I don't like any. I don't. And again, I think it's unrealistic he'll be there at this pick. I think he goes in the second round. Yeah. So I'm looking at guys that I think are actually going to be here. And there is one that I really like and I have my eye on. And he's not a need position, but they've changed the kickoff rules now.
Yep.
And we went out and got, who was that guy? Vault or whatever his name is.
Chenault.
Chenault, yeah. And we have Laviska Chenault, and we have.
Thank you, because I would never gotten Laviska.
Yeah, Laviska Chenault, okay. And I think that's right. And D. Eskridge to return kicks, but it's still an area of need. It's going to be a bigger part of the game. There is a guy here who is really rated down that I really like. Brendan Rice.
Really? Over Malachi Corley?
Yeah, really? I like him because of his incredible kick return ability.
Okay.
And he could become a 3rd or 4th wide receiver. Yeah, and we do have to think about who's our wide receiver.
Right.
Well, who's our wide receiver 3 next year? Because Tyler Lockett's probably in his last year. It's doubtful he'll be back for another year.
Right.
It's possible, but only if he takes a huge pay cut.
I agree.
So Brendan Rice might have the ability to be that good receiver. It's the 4th round. You know, who else? What other receiver went in the 4th round in recent years that really would have helped the Seahawks if we'd have picked him? Detroit guy, what's his name? Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like him better than Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm drafting him. Brendan Rice is
Gary Rice's son.
And defensive tackle can wait. Okay, the Steelers come back with an offensive tackle. Trotter goes. Kalen King, Will Shipley. Okay, you're back on the clock. You have multiple trade offers, but those aren't.
We're not gonna take them because we're gonna go back to the all board. And we're going to look at now Leonard Taylor and Mekhi Wingo are both guys that I'm interested in. Mason Smith, not so much. Tommy Eichenberg is a guy that I love and that Mike loves too.
Right.
So
People
were I
say,
to sit here
people
and
say he can't cover, and then you look at all the film of him, and he does
Cover,
an excellent
yeah.
job in cover.
Yeah.
No, we need a cover linebacker. Eichenberg's slow. Then people have a prejudice against him because he's white.
yeah,
But his instincts,
Right.
he's
around the football all
He
the
understands
time.
football so
Yeah,
well
he
that
does.
it doesn't, he makes up for maybe a lack of pure testing athleticism.
and he would be a great pick at this point in the draft.
Wow, like a double down on the linebacker spot.
However,
Yes.
there is a guy on this board that I like even better.
Cade Stover's a good player.
Tommy Eichenberg. Cade Stover's a great
I know
guy.
who you're going to pick.
Yeah. Do you?
Uh-huh.
Well, his name.
He goes to Florida. He's a Florida
State player.
defensive tackle.
And he's a guy that's got short arms, supposedly. But he's just a mauler. He works his ass off.
Tense,
6'5",
explosive.
304.
Well, intense, explosive, one gap defensive tackle who plays with a relentless style. That sounds like the kind of guy we need on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Braden Fisk, defensive tackle.
Fisk.
And you know, I've seen drafts where he's gone in the first round. He's now looking here at 118.
Supposedly 118.
Let's look at the consensus big board. Let's slide over to the mock draft database consensus big board and see where Braden Fisk is going in mocks. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm in a position. Let's go to defensive lineman. Let's look at.
They got him at 42. There he is up there at 42.
42. So it seems unlikely he'll be here, but weird things happen.
Look, but the Texans, they traded us that pick. So
that's true. That's true.
Sorry, go ahead.
Weird things do happen in the NFL draft. So you're going to take
Braden Fisk, the defensive tackle from Florida State.
And
I think that's a great pick.
I don't see how anybody can complain about this draft at all at this point.
Except for all, this is an awesome draft.
Except for all the simps who are like, we've got to take a guard instead of a quarterback.
Well, we can double down on a guard in the next couple of picks. I think we've still got 2 or 3 picks left.
We do. We have 192 and 235. Yeah. Tommy Eichenberg went to the Panthers. They're really building something here with the draft that they did. So we don't pick again till 192. Michael Pratt goes to the Redskins. They took 2 quarterbacks. I don't think so. I don't think they're doing that. Yeah. Cade Stover goes to the Vikings.
Darius Henderson went. That's too bad. I was looking at him as a possible pick. Oh, it's Mike's pick next.
Yeah. Khalid Duke.
I had to find another Fosh.
2 Eagles picks: Blake Fisher, Jalen Wright.
At this point in the draft, you're just looking at guys that probably can.
They have like one trait.
Yeah, they have one good trait. They're either a good blocker, run blocker, good pass blocker, good pass rusher. One of those things is good. And we're right here. Oh, they just did Bowling.
All right, so we're sitting back here at 192. I'm very tempted to go Devin Culp or even.
But I already took Theo Johnson.
You already took Theo Johnson.
What more do you need?
Or even
Jack Westover will probably be a free agent.
I think he gets drafted, but a lot of people like Westover was being compared to the 49ers fullback. What's his name? I forget. Anyway,
I know who you're talking about.
We're forgetting
I can't
a lot.
think of his name.
I'm forgetting a lot of shiz here these days. Pick 192. We're gonna stick and pick. If you look at our picks so far, I took Trice, I took Peyton Wilson, I took Brendan Rice. We're stacked. We've already won this draft as far as I'm concerned because guys have fallen to us. But if we look over on the defensive side, there's not a lot of names that excite me. At this point, I would probably be looking at edges like Jeff Coate or the guy from Brennan Jackson or Zion Tupola Fute.
I know Mike likes Zion Tupola Fute, but Brennan Jackson is the guy I would be taking. But if I were getting a second edge.
But I'm not taking him.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over to offense. I'm going to look. I'm tempted to take a second tight end because the tight end room is weak.
But I think Jack Westover will be there as an undrafted.
If you can get him. So I'm going to slide over to center. I'm going to drop down. This guy's rated 330. He's a much better player than that. I do think he gets drafted in the 6th or 7th round. Drake Nugent, you can't have enough Michigan offensive linemen. And why not bring him in and add a third center to our competition? I'm taking Drake Nugent from Michigan. Take
Okay.
those big school guys with
Okay.
talent. So there he goes. Jaheim Bell goes. A lot of names I don't know. We haven't taken a safety. I don't care. I don't think
No,
there's.
I
I don't
think
think safety is a value position.
when Mike and I discussed safety, we talked about this the other night. So we've got
Jordan Love,
the
the two guys we signed, one from
Tavon
Jacksonville,
Wallace, and then the other guy
yeah,
from
Devin Culp
Jacksonville.
just went to the Rams.
Yeah.
Fuck the Rams.
Well, that's fine. But also, we have a guy like Kobe Bryant who honestly can't get into
the
cornerback rotation.
Right.
So
yeah,
you could move him to safety.
Yeah, and everybody says
a lot of guys.
You got two guys on 1 year deals. Well, who's to say? I mean, next year, if they cut Geno, they're going to have so much cap space, they're not going to know what to do with it. So you can bring in other guys on 1 year deals next year, or sign these guys to long-term deals if they play well. So, again, that's not a good argument. I don't think safety is really a need. Okay, so now you're up 235. Our last pick.
Let's take a look at what we've done in the draft overall.
If you look at it, we've got Spencer Rattler, quarterback from South Carolina, Braylon Trice, the luxury pick, edge in the second round with that pick we probably wouldn't really get. Cooper Beebe, the offensive guard, Peyton Wilson, the linebacker, Theo Johnson, Brendan Rice, the kick returner, wide receiver, Brendan Fisk, defensive tackle, Braden Fisk, and Drake Nugent. And now we're sitting at 235. Not bad. Not a bad haul. What do you think?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go. It's 235, so it's not going to be probably a guy who breaks any records or becomes any. So yeah,
I love Talua Tagovailoa, 2-2. I call him. I love him. The guy's a playmaker.
And I agree with that.
Now,
I've seen him play, and I think
if this was the only quarterback that we picked, I would not be satisfied with that. We have to go get a top guy.
5'10", 210.
Little, small but intelligent quarterback who consistently finds ways to make plays. I couldn't describe him better than that. But since we've already got Spencer Rattler, I don't think we're going that direction because that would give us, 4 guys. And we could also save a shit ton of money if we traded Geno Smith for a 2026 six-pack of beer. This year. But, I don't know if that would happen. So go ahead.
Let's go back to the all board again. And let me tell you, there's some guys on here that I like. Justin Ebiogbe, Alabama, defensive tackle.
Double down.
Not a big guy, but or a super player. But anyway, no, go back up a little bit. Just scrolling past guys. Kitten Oladapo.
Yeah.
Is someone that's been talked about in the past as being a player with a lot of potential.
They don't even have any data on it. So why not take a safety here with your last pick?
Well, you could do that.
We haven't taken the defensive back yet.
You could do that, but you could continue to scroll down, or you could go to defense and look at cornerback. Let's see what we have back.
Not a lot left on.
Not a lot left on cornerback.
It's not a great year for corners.
Not a lot left on. What do you got on safety?
We have Patrick Morris from Cal.
Well, see, the guy I like, honestly, late here would be Sione Vaki.
Do you think he's
from Utah?
Do you think he's going to be there?
I think he's probably not going to be there. I think he's probably a 4th or 5th round pick.
But he is in this
scenario. He is. He's number 269, not even drafted.
So even though we just sort of poo-pooed safety, I think this is a great time to take a safety.
I agree.
With the 9th pick in our draft.
Yeah. 9th
or 10th. I'm fine with taking a safety. So let's go to all. And we just roll through the rest of the 7th round. I might have stretched it with Drake Nugent, but again, Michigan center, Michigan player, Oluwalowatimi, can compete with him, and we're done. All right, these are our full results from this mock draft simulator. Spencer Rattler, the quarterback, great pick by Dave Barrett, trades down and gets Spencer Rattler. That is a risk, though, because I do think he doesn't get much past 40 at the most.
Yeah, right around that.
And we would be lucky to get him there. But I
think 44 with the Raiders is probably
hell. I mean, we had Bo Nixon and was still on there. So Braylon Trice, a luxury pick at 55. I made that one. Dave came back with Cooper Beebe. Smart play by him. Get the inside offensive lineman. Peyton Wilson, the luxury. Again, linebacker. We needed a linebacker or two, but we got the guy who's probably got the most talent in the draft. It could have gone in the first round if he didn't have an injury.
Again, would have been Trevin Wallace if he wasn't already off the board.
Dave comes back with Theo Johnson filling the tight end room. Good call. I come back with Brendan Rice. My picks are more exotic than yours. Well, except for Spencer Rattler. Brendan Rice.
I like good football players.
Yeah, wide receiver / kick returner.
Yeah,
Dave got Braden Fisk. Good call there. I went with Drake Nugent, the center. And you went with Sion Vaki because we may as well take a defensive back, even though we're loaded. So, what do you overall think about that?
I think that's probably a B+ draft, and I will say that because we don't know how Rattler's going to be as a pro. We think he has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably come in and not be QB1 or QB2 for most of this year. I think if you get off to a 2-2 or worse start,
right,
you might think about switching to the rookie. And I think that the backup quarterback, Sam Howell, is probably going to be your backup both for this year and for the future. So I think that Rattler will probably sit for the first few games, and then we'll see if there's a transition that needs to be made.
Right.
Braylon Trice, again, luxury pick. I agree with that, but a nice pick kept me from taking the guy from Utah that I wanted.
Defensive tackle. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the edge guy.
Okay,
I forgot him already.
Well, we can
Cooper Beebe is a good pick.
I took Braylon Trice right here, and who's the Utah edge?
He's still down. He's number 94 on the board.
Oh, is he? Okay,
I can't think of his
Edgerrin
name.
Cooper.
No, the edge guy. He's an edge.
Oh, I don't know. Where is Cole Bishop? No, it's a safety.
Did he not go until the 4th round?
Yeah, maybe not. Brandon Dorless?
No. Go more around. Jonah Ellis. Ellis. Utah was the guy I was thinking about.
Look, Braden Fisk is going to be better.
But anyway, I rated about a B+ because I think there is some question about the first round pick, but I think you took a great chance to take a guy at 42 that can be your starting quarterback in a year or two, or maybe even this season if things go wrong.
Yeah.
Cooper Beebe's a good pick. Peyton Wilson is a good pick, although high risk, high reward player. Theo Johnson, very good pick, I think. Brendan Rice, a very good pick. I picked him before in some of my mocks. Braden Fisk, I, of course, love. I think that's terrific.
Don't know if he'll make it to 123, but yeah.
Right. Then Drake Nugent, Sione Ivaki, these are guys who are probably going to be backups and or special teams.
Yeah, and practice squad guys. Here's the thing. There are some high risk, high reward guys in this draft. There's no question. Rattler and Wilson and maybe even Trice could be listed among those. But this team doesn't have any stars.
Yeah, it doesn't.
This team has basically DK Metcalf and Devon Witherspoon and Kenneth Walker,
and hopefully
maybe
Kenneth Walker.
Maybe they're star. Maybe they're stars.
No,
I mean, DK's a star, and Witherspoon is a potential budding star. But this team needs stars, and Rattler, Trice, Wilson, Brendan Rice, even Fisk,
Braden Fisk,
they have star quality. Yeah. They have star quality potential, and that is
Braden Fisk could be a guy who's as good in a year or two as Max Crosby.
Yes, right. Yeah, and that is something that the Seahawks, I think, pretty desperately lack. Yeah. Okay, so that is going to wrap up our 7-round Seahawks mock draft. We agreed on so much. Well, I wouldn't have done any different picks than you did.
Well, like I said, I would have taken Trevin Wallace over Peyton Wilson because Peyton Wilson is going to be there. I think trading 2 or 3 times into the second round is probably 3 times. It's probably unrealistic. Yeah. So it's unlikely you would have 2 second-round picks. But
you got to go with
what
the computer gives you.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. All right, I have to give Miss Fluffy Muffy her insulin shot, and then we're gonna take the dog for a walk, and we're gonna hit sports bar and watch the F1 sprint races tonight. So we're getting out of here. Gonna go party in Las Vegas. You guys have a great weekend. We might be back this weekend if news dictates.
Yeah, thanks. And we might be back. We are, I think, gonna do a.
We're gonna do more drafts before the end.
At least one more 2-round mock draft
before the end of it. All right. Thanks for being here. Love you guys. Like, subscribe. Don't forget to go to the Seahawk Boys Fearless and Stupid NFL channel. There it is right there, Seahawk Boys. We need more subscribers. We need more likes on our videos. Yes, I do mirror this to my other YouTube channels, Mike Bear 2, Mike Bear 3. But if you're going to view it, get on over there and get to the Seahawk Boys and subscribe there.
Yeah.
And we already have 175 subscribers. That's fucking awesome.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
guys.
That's awesome.
Because, and you know why we're starting to pick up subscribers?
Because we're smart.
No. No, because I have a vast fan base for my television.
Oh,
that's why.
Yeah, that's
but also, if you really are into the football content, and I don't know how many of the people are, we're different than everybody else.
Yeah,
we give you different
perspectives.
And wow, I picked Spencer Rattler kind of randomly as the picture for this particular thing.
He was my guy I think he was the guy all the way, because
ended up.
I think he's probably, if we were to pick at 42, he's the only guy who could possibly be.
Yeah,
that would be worth drafting. Plus the 2-2 pick late, if we were just picking where we are right now in the draft, and there were no trades involved, and we were in the 7th round, I would look at 2-2.
Oh, I would look at him higher than that.
Maybe
the 5th or 6th round. And I would take him if we missed out on all the quarterbacks. I would take him because he's a playmaker.
As a guy who could make.
And I wouldn't expose him to the practice squad. I would keep him on the roster.
I agree.
And hopefully develop him, because the kid is a playmaker, and you can't coach playmaking ability. Just like the old saying, you can't coach 7 feet. Kraken.
Go Kraken. Don't fire your coach. Don't fire Dave Haxtell.
No.
I think he's a good coach. The team was not good. You need another 30 goal scorer in the lineup.
We have to go. If we're gonna make it to the bar, we have to go. All right. See you guys later. Maybe see you again this weekend. Have a great one. And we'll be back next week, right before the draft. Bye-bye.